see what is lacking in this country. Let us not see what is the problem and capitalize on what is lacking. However, we would also need to position ourselves in a strategic way so that in this crisis, the leaders who will stand, they are people who can be able to command influence in a certain way. And we will fight both tribalism and even corruption. Finally, I feel I have talked too much. The other thing that propagates tribalism in this country is the political parties. I am yet to see a young man who is very strong in this wave and tell us, I want to vie in Luo Nyanza with a party that is not ODM, and work out on the ground modalities and bring us a win for a member of parliament position or an MCA position without an ODM ticket. ODM philosophy and the way they do their things, or even the way we have seen UDA and other political parties, they worship the party, the political party leaders. And in as much as there are political laws, our political parties propagate tribes. And so as we plan to end tribalism, in 2027 as people vie, can we have young people vying with other political parties other than the dominant political parties, so that we define ourselves tribeless by even having, like myself, maybe I declare here because probably nobody knows, I will be a member of parliament in one of the constituencies in Meru, and I am a Kikuyu. And it is because there is something I am doing on the ground, and I can tell you, the party I'm intending to use is not local in Meru, and I cannot, because I don't want to be called by other leaders and I'm told, you know, tutafanya hivi, kijana. I don't want. So, okay, I come to the close by saying, let us fight and fashion our way without concentrating on what others are doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mwangi. That is for the long comments. Let me welcome my brother Afro Mambo.
Hi, Mr. Morara. I hope all is good, and thank you so much for this opportunity. Mine is just to say that let's get realistic and speak what's on the ground and look at the history of tribalism. I can see from the dashboard here, it's Ruto's tribal game plan. So let's start from where do we come from? So as we all know, Kenya has a history of ethnic divisions and exclusion in government positions. People have been hired based on ethnicity, tribe, party, or family ties, which has been a challenge since the Kenyatta times. So we all know that the Constitution has laid the foundation for this. If you look at Article 232, stating that the public service should be representative of all communities in Kenya, and Article 10 also obligates public institutions to promote inclusiveness, non-discrimination, and protection of vulnerable and marginalized groups. So if you just going by those two, the Constitution, this is not happening. That is where we are getting it wrong. If, for instance, if you look at the public service appointments on the paper, a lot of it is based on ethnicity and does not confer to the Constitution of Kenya and Article 232 and Article 10. Yet, people are very blind to this. We keep going on and assuming that as long as your people voted for you, you have the right to appoint your own people. No one this is where we are. This is the situation on the ground. Apart from that, I wanted to talk about tribalism in Kenya based on education, based also due to the fact that you do a lot of civic education. According to the statistics from last year. So Kikuyu as a tribe tops the list of the most educated tribes in Kenya. There are over 100 like Kikuyu professors and more than 5,000 with PhD. Kalenjin comes second, So going by that fact, it will be an assumption that these tribes are elite in terms of civic education. They know exactly what happens if they vote for non-issues, if they vote along this thing of payback, sentimental, I call it sentimental voting, yet they still go ahead and do the same. This has happened across board, So sometimes my fear, Morara, is as much as you're doing civic education, the most learned people always fall in this trap, not to make us lose hope. We just hope that this time around, things will get better. That is the only thing we can hope for now. If you remember, one time we used to have Magufuli. So Magufuli once said, mambo yote Kenya ni excellent, ila jambo moja tu. Najua haya maneno yatawachoma moyo kidogo, lakini lazima niwaambie, mumalize ukabila. Hiyo ikiisha, Kenya is the best country. If I know most of you remember this. Magufuli said, the late, he said this. So if you look at this movement of Gen Z, we've been a part of it, and I've seen a lot of people drop as time goes by. We've made traitors. We have also separated the goats from the boys from men, if you like it. We have seen people who've been paid by Ruto, and we all know that Ruto has suspended constitution and is willing to do anything possible to buy out the weaklings. People like Mark Samuel would have gone to the other party. I'm sorry to name the names, but this is a fact. We all started here to the fact that you are supposed to be tribeless, fearless, all these things. But one by one, we are getting exposed, especially on the tribal thing. We all remember what happened during the Uhuru regime. We are all here not because of Ruto per se. Of course, Ruto was part of the previous regime, but we cannot entirely blame him for what's happening now. This started way back to Kibaki, but for the sake of it, let's start from Uhuru. How many scandals were there? I remember the saddest day of my life during Uhuru regime that I still remember when Uhuru came out and said, wanaiba 2 billion every day, mnataka nifanye nini? That was the president speaking. And I was so depressed today and yesterday when I saw people in Embu forgetting all that happened in Rivayala, all these things that Uhuru did, and they are back again to their default settings, and they are still advocating for the lesser evil. Like, oh yes, we have two devils, but let's go with the one that we know, So as if that is not enough, as much as you will be injecting more and more civic education, what's the probability of them shunning away from sentimental voting? This is a tribal thing. It's all going back to the ground. I've seen how they have welcomed Uhuru. Everyone has forgotten everything they did. This is the fear. The same thing is happening in Nyanza. After going through all those atrocities and everything that happened, they all go back to their default settings. I pray and wish that as Gen Z, we should be looking forward to young leadership. But also remember, young Gen Z leaders does not amount to non-tribalism. I've seen a lot of young leaders in Gen Z movement, especially in the timeline of X, always tribal and always trying to magnify and have sympathy for people like Gachagua, people who are in the administration. Immediately you start having sympathy for the regime because they come from your area. I mean, that is so sad. As a Gen Z, I will expect that from the millennials, from our grandmothers, from our mothers, but not from a Gen Z. So to say that Gen Z are not tribal per se is a misinformation. Some of them are super tribal, and they will always resort back to the default settings when they go back home and ask their parents, who do we vote for? That is happening, and that is the reality, Morara. And I was so happy when you highlighted the fact that Uhuru should not be made like a god. He had his part in all these problems that we have. And Nyakundi has been saying the same. So let's wake up, let's be realistic. And before I land, Morara, I would like you to talk more about the goals of the movement, because we have like less than 3 years. It may look like little, but if we keep if we don't keep track of goals, then I think a lot of people will sway along the way. What I'm talking about is, can we come up with the specific goals, and what we have achieved, in terms of SMART goals. Let's look at things that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound as we move forward. We have seen all your dossiers and documentaries, which are, that is the reason why people like us in the diaspora, that is what we see, that's what people see, and no one is taking responsibility. I'm sure this makes you angry. I know this makes you angry because people take it like a movie, like just anything else, like reality. I mean, nothing is happening. Even I heard someone say that Morara will just talk and expose all this, but nothing is happening. No one has been held accountable, Morara. So my question also is, Morara, how does that make you feel? Do you think that Kenyans have not suffered enough for them to show up? What do you think? Because sometimes I tend to think that hatujafikiwa watu, the middle class is a weak link. As long as they can afford some bread and some 2 meals a day, they feel they're okay. I honestly feel that watu wakifinywa vizuri na Ruto, especially in tax, watu watatokea. People hawajafikiwa. Sometimes I feel like this is my own personal opinion. Kwa sababu, honestly speaking, look at what's happening. Look at NHIF cash that was stolen. Hospitals are owed by NHIF. Then they cover that up and bring a new thing that is not working. And Kenyans are not angry enough. We are like that tick that is sucking a cow, but we have no idea the cow is dead. It's going to take some time for some people to realize that the cow is dead. When you realize there is no more blood from the cow and you're the tick. So that's my landing for now. And thank you once again for this space and all the listeners, and God bless.
Thank you, Afromambo. Just to respond to, this is Darwin talking, Dr. Darwin. Morara is having some little issue about his voice, but he's bringing it on back.
Morara is available now.
He's available now. Morara, you can respond to Afromambo.
He first asked me how I feel. Bana, I feel angry. Guy. I feel very angry. In fact, many times I have to be controlled. I have to be controlled by my family members. To be controlled by my team members. Because I do this thing paka nasikia sasa nimekuwa depressed mimi mwenyewe. It's like walking in a mortuary and seeing dead bodies. You never get used to it. It traumatizes me every day. And then now what annoys me more is to see people cheering and clapping for the same people who have put them in that situation. Sasa nashindwangwa ni uchawi gani hawa watu wanatumia for sure. But I've come to understand that Kenyans have been through a lot, and they have come a long way in terms of, being misused and used. So Kenyans are like those people who are in a narcissistic relationship. They are like that girlfriend who is in a relationship where she's being cheated on, and she's saying, what if I'm the one making him cheat? Yeah, so that's the situation Kenyans are in. They are in the Stockholm syndrome where unaonea huruma yule ambaye anakutesa. What do we need to do about it? My short answer to it is civic education, because I keep saying this, but some people keep disagreeing with me that removing Ruto is not the solution right now. The solution is civic education. Why? Because you remove Ruto right now, even if you put, say, a council, a transitional council. The transitional council can only have a term of maybe 3 months or 6 months. After that, we are a democracy. We must have an election. When we have the election, and these are the same Kenyan electorate that are going to vote in that election, you can remove Ruto and have Gachagua as your president. You can remove Ruto and have Waititu. I mean, you can have the most ridiculous, you can have Didmas Baraza for sure. Because Kenyans vote for mediocrity. And then they celebrate it, and then they clap and cheer for it. So we must do very serious civic education. We who are in the know must go to the ground and educate people in the ground kwamba mumebeba ufala for too long, tafadhali amkeni. Yeah, and that's why you saw when I did my video today about Mount Kenya and Uhuru, I was so annoyed because this is the same guy who stole money for laptops, stole money for SGR, came and brought the same money SGR built here an expressway which you are paying for where money is going to his pocket. He took money and built his banks and his businesses. This guy stole so much money. He is even mentioned in Pandora papers. He stole Eurobond. He registered, a bank abroad and stole $2 billion from the Republic of Kenya. This guy is a thief par excellence. That is why when Ruto came to power, Ruto didn't follow up on what Uhuru stole because they were stealing together. When the Gen Z happened, you hear Raila saying, ati rafiki yangu Uhuru alinipigia simu. Akaniambia tafuta Ruto muongee na yeye. Why? Why would Uhuru call Raila to tell him aenda ashikane na Ruto? Because they are one dynasty. Kenyans, we are the food. We are on the menu, not on the table. We are the ones to be eaten. So they reached a point and said, we should stop fighting, otherwise our food will run away. So when I see Mount Kenya people cheering Uhuru like a hero, I'm like, what the hell? This is the same guy I want to arrest. If I'm given an opportunity to be a president in Kenya, this guy should return every single penny. Kenya, I may earn, if it is his company, let's say Brookhouse International School or Brookside, if he earned his money well, sina mambo nayo. Lakini yenye imeibwa, hiyo inarudi. Even land, which he didn't buy, he grabbed, hiyo inarudi yote. In fact, we should not even finance our budget using our taxes. The 5 years, we should finance it using proceeds of corruption. That should finance our budget. Sasa nashindwa, basi sasa mbona mnichoche hapa ati Morara wewe simama tutakupigia kura. Nisimame mnipigie kura nikishika Uhuru ama nikishika Ruto mseme ameshika mtu wa kabila yetu. Sasa haja gani? Si afadhali muachane na mimi nipumzike because me I don't want to be useless. I don't want to go to a seat and just be there doing nothing. I want to go there and do things. I want to make stuff happen bana. I want heads to roll. Didmas Barasa kwa hapa anaturingia vile atakuwa governor wa Bungoma na ameiba pesa yetu paka amenunua helicopter. Sirisi ya MP hapa Waluke alikuwa anasema ati mtu akirecord video kwa Facebook kama WhatsApp akisema yeye ni mfisadi ati atampiga paka apitie kwa dirisha. Can you imagine a person ametuibia and he is that arrogant? He talks back to us in a condescending attitude. Just yesterday, not yesterday, but the day before yesterday, I came back from Kwale. Nimefika kwa airport, I meet Alfred Mutua. Then Alfred Mutua has the temerity, the confidence ya kuanza kunisomea. Can you imagine? I meet Alfred Mutua at the airport, a cabinet secretary ananisomea. Because I was with my wife and children, niliamua sitamjibu. Nikaingia kwa gari nikaenda. But I really had a lot to say. And I regretted not saying it. Kwa sababu ni mtu ningesimama tu for 2 minutes, nimpashe tu very proper. Nimuulize wewe kwanza rudisha pesa ya Masi Stadium 50 million. Na urudishe pesa ya Kinyui Stadium 49 million. Na urudishe pesa ya Mavoko Stadium 50 million. Na urudishe 100 million ya kujenga sijui Governors Lodge in Matu. Yani ile mchezo inaendelea Kenya mimi saa ingine nasikianga hao watu washikwe wote wawekwe jela. And we should not be joking with these people. Let's not tolerate mediocrity. Let's not tolerate mediocrity in leadership. Hii mambo ya kuniambia sijui nini, forgive them, leave them alone, they served their time, let them rest, let them retire peacefully. Uhuru alimaliza term yake, pesa yetu iko wapi? Oh, Gachagua has already been impeached. He can never run again. Leave him alone. Let him enjoy. Enjoy what? Yet the guy owes Kenyan 7 billion shillings. Yenye imeibiwa kwa different counties including Bungoma County. Anapumuzika kwa nini? Why? Si arudishe basi aenda akapumzike. So is this the same thing you Kenyans are planning to do with Ruto? Ruto tutamtoa kwa uongozi alafu mseme alifanya kazi yake, wacha mzee apumzike. Hakuna kitu ya kupumzika. Watu warudishe the 10,000 acres yenye Ruto wako na arudishe. Hiyo ya Taita Taveta. If he acquired it legally, it's okay. That is his land. The 6 aeroplanes Boeing 747 yamenunua. Aeleze vile alinunua, if it makes sense, sawa. But anything that has been stolen as proceeds of corruption, including Murkomen's belt, including Oscar Sudi's watch, those things we must create a national auction tuuzie wanamuziki, tuuzie musicians na wasanii wavae hizo watch za kina Oscar Sudi. Mtu asituibie na atuonyeshe kiburi. I mean, how can people be suffering in Kenya, dying in hospitals? Children are unable to go to school. Youths don't have opportunities. Watu wanahangaika, yani people are poor. Even people who made wealth during Kibaki's time, they've lost their wealth. Ulikuwa na ploti mbili, umeuza moja kupeleka mama hospitali. Ulikuwa na gari, zote zimekujiwa na bank. Na hiyo bank inakujia ni NCBA ya Uhuru. Na yeye alikuibia pesa akakufanya maskini. We ni contractor, umefanya tenda ya serikali, pesa imetoka European Union ikaingia county government kama vile walifanya Kwale Kombani Market, wamekula hiyo pesa, hawakulipi. Sasa uko kotini, unalipa maloya, umekuwa na blood pressure, umenyang'anywa matrakta na bank. What is this? Why are we tolerating this? We should not tolerate hii mchezo, by the way. Now we have in our parliament, wash. Watu ati wash are members of parliament. We have criminals of international repute now in parliament. Fake gold dealers ati wako parliament. Fake money printers ati wako parliament. Mtu ana run brothel. Ana import wanawake kutoka Indonesia na Singapore. Ati sasa ako bunge. Anatengeneza sheria gani? Bana, ile mchezo inaendelea Kenya saa ingine inanifanya nasikia kuwa wazimu. Let us just say this. It has come a time when this joke must come to an end. This joke must come to an end for sure. We must finish this joke. Anybody mwenye alikula pesa ya CT scan machine, watu wanaenda hospitali, they cannot be imaged. Mtu mwenye alikula pesa ya x-ray, wenye walikula 3 billion yenye ilikuwa set aside ya MRI for all level 4 hospitals. Bana, chuma chenu kimotoni. And people should stop saying at, oh, you know, Morara, you need the support of some of these people. These are the people that can finance you. Mimi afadhali niitwe conman na Wakenya. Nichangi wangu hiyo 100, 200, 500, 600, 1000, 2000. Kuliko nipewe pesa na Uhuru, then Uhuru owns me like his bitch. You know, I become a leader, then I'm bendovering for Uhuru.
Kweli kabisa. Hiyo Morara umedunga hapo ndipo. Maybe we can get few speakers before we just wind it up. Achani kindly take like 2 minutes, then we will have closing remarks from Morara. Let me start by inviting Nairobi Badman. You can unmute.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, I'm Morara. I've heard about you. Yes,